Thanks, Asha, for your confirmation. Okay, here as well. Thank you. I could see only 6 people have joined this call. So just wanted to know, is it because it's a Sunday session or maybe because the content that has been provided to you, maybe it's not that worthy enough. Just wanted to cross check with you. What are your feedbacks on the session that has gone through? Do you have any specific feedback for the sessions? What you wanted to be delivered? Anything? I can see we have only 4 participants in today's call, so I'll wait till 2 more minutes to see if anyone joins, and then I'll proceed further. Okay. Okay. So I see that there are no further folks that will be joining this call. So I'll start with today's topic and we'll dive into further things. I'm just sharing my screen to you. Let me know when it is visible so that we can start things. Can anyone confirm that they can see my screen and can hear me properly? Just a yes, and I will move forward. Anyone from the participant can confirm that they can see my screen and I can move further. Uh, Seems like the responses are slow today. No worries on that. I'll proceed with the session. Okay, so for today's session, what I thought that I would be presenting you a lot of topics. So, but seeing the number of people that have joined, I will see if we could tweak that. But I'll start with users today. and then how to create the users, how to deactivate, and what is the significance of deactivating and freezing the users. Okay, and then we will talk about the password policies, how we can put the password policies in Salesforce. Then we will talk about restricted IP ranges, that how you can restrict someone to log into your Salesforce org, and then on licensing org and edition. Okay, then we'll discuss something upon business hours and holidays, and then the audit methods. So this would be the part A of today. So I'll try to wrap it up and then I'll take the questions when I complete the part A of the session. Okay. So let's move ahead with the first thing, that is called the users. Okay. To see, like basically this is a Salesforce org, right? And then you have different kind of users that would be present over there, who would be accessing this org, working on this org, and leveraging the benefit out of it. Also, if you go into your setup and being an admin, right, you would be given a task of create one user, create multiple user, create thousands of users, right? Maybe create a user from an Excel sheet. So there are certain tasks that are given when you have a new org and you have new users coming up into the system. So, for example, let's say you're working in an org and some your senior management asks you to create a user. Okay, so what you'll have to do, you'll have to click on users over in the quick find and click on users over here. Once you click on the users, you will see what are the users that are available in your org. Okay, this is a view. If you click on admin users, it will show what are the admin users that are already into your org. Okay, and then these are, if you click on the active users, this is basically a list view over here. So it will tell all the active users that are into your org. So we already discussed that someone who has a profile of system administrator is the one who has all the accesses of the org, all the permissions, all the settings, and they can manipulate any of the settings within the Salesforce org. Okay. Other than that, you can have different users with different profiles. The significance of profile is here that it enables you what you can see within the system. Okay. So when we say like, let's say you just take an example of a very big apartment. Okay. Let's say it has 30 floors. In that 30 floors, let's say that is your org. Okay. Now, for you to be able to go to every floor, you should have a specific profile. Let's say you are the board secretary of that apartment. Then you have the access to all the 30 floors. That is like you are the system administrator. Okay. Then based on other profiles, like how you wanted to define the access for the person, let's say you want the person to be only access the first 10 levels of the apartment, you can give them sales profile because that is only leveraged to the sales profile. Now the next 20 floors, like from 11 to 30, would be maybe leveraged by a service profile or maybe someone else. Okay, so that is just an analogy I'm just trying to explain. So profiles enables you based on the profiles, the person would have certain accesses and the system and permissions to do things into the Salesforce. Okay, now if you wanted to just create a new user, you'll have to click on new user over here and you'll have to fill the details. Let's say test user. You can give them the name as TS as of now. Alias, it would take automatically. You'll have to give some email, and usually, whatever the email that you give is get copied into your username. Always remember, a username is always unique throughout the Salesforce org. Okay, you cannot have the same username into the Salesforce org. Even no one can use the same username. If I'm using this particular username, no other users in the Salesforce ecosystem would be having the same username. Okay, then you can give the nickname and all, and these are the certain other fields. On your right hand side, you would be seeing that there are three fields. This is a role, the license, and the profile. Okay. As if now, let's say if I wanted to choose for system administrator. I want this person to be as a system admin. Then there are certain licenses that are tagged to it. So that license is Salesforce, but that is not coming up. Why? Because we have already created, this is a dev org and you can only have two admins, and we have already created them. So that's why you're not seeing the Salesforce user license over here, because it is restricted. Uh, I'll choose the Salesforce platform one, and I'll make this person as a platform user. There are other profiles as well, such as chatter, identity. So these would be used based on the requirements. But the most one that are used are platform users, the chatter users who are only do chatter is like when you go on WhatsApp and you do some text on some comment, right? So these are the people who are there to comment on the feeds and everything. Okay, and I'll just I'll this is already active, and there are some other fields that you wanted to give it up. Also, you can choose a locale and everything. Let's say for this user, what we'll do is uh, we will. This is Pakistan Standard Time, so that is the half an hour before India. So I'll choose this one. Okay, and the English I'll choose maybe. Let's see what we have. So we have Urdu Pakistan over here. Okay, and these are the language that are supported. So I'll save this user. So you say that you are able to create a particular user, and this user has been created in your Salesforce. Okay. If I click on login over here, I would be login as this user that I've already showed you. Okay. Also, uh, if you are a system admin, right, then if you search for login access policies over here, there is one option. If you read as admins can log in any user. Okay, so if that is not checked, then you won't get that option of login is any other users. Okay, why this feature is given by Salesforce? Because a lot of times we are the super users, the admin users, right? We have all the privileges and the actions to perform any of the things, but then our users are restricted and we have given them the accesses based on a lot of things. Now when they are not able to do anything into the org, right, then to troubleshoot the issue, we have to log in as them and to see why they are not able to see a record, why they are not able to create a record, why they are not able to create anything. So that's how this feature is available in the login access policies, where you can enable it and you can log in with any other of the users. Okay. Now coming back to the user that we have created over here, you see that there's another button as freeze. Okay, and then there's a button called as view summary. Okay, so these are view summary is a new button that has been released in summer 24 release. Every year there are 3 releases in Salesforce where they made some enhancement or changes to the Salesforce platform. Okay, so based on every year we have the releases, and the Salesforce makes some changes, and this is into the recent release where they have enabled this button. What is the work of this button? I'll tell you in a minute. But before that, let's talk more upon the user thing. So we have created a user, and then if I click on login, so you see that this user, I have logged in as this particular user, and this is a new user, all for him and everything. Let's click on. So this is I have logged in at that user, and he is able to see these things. Okay, if we restrict these users to maybe like not able to see these records and everything, that will come in up to the security. But yeah, I have just logged in at that user so that I can show you that how admins can log in with any other user, and then they can further troubleshoot. Let's say if I'm not able to see a particular list view or something like this, I would be come here and I will be testing it. Okay, logging off with that user, and I'll log in with the admin again. So what we did is we created one user. Also, what we have created, if you come up over here, you'll see most recently used. What you have done, right? So I've created a user. I can directly go from here. No need to go from the users in the quick find. Now you're seeing that there's no option of deleting a user in Salesforce. You are seeing it. There's a freeze button over there, but then there's nothing called as deleting the user. So our question would come into your mind. Let's say I created a user and he was working with us, and after, let's say, maybe 1 year, he left the company or he is about to leave the company. Now I wanted to delete this user and I want to onboard any other user. How would you do that? So basically, you cannot delete a user in Salesforce. Why? Because a user has been tagged to a lot of records, a lot of settings and everything. So whenever we delete the user, those records gets orphaned. And then there are a lot of production issues as well. So that's why Salesforce do not provide the option of deleting any user. The other two options that we have is either we can deactivate the user or freeze the user. Assuming that we work in a company and we have onboarded this user as test user TS, and he is working into the company. Now he's about to leave. So first of all, what we can do is we can either freeze the user or deactivate the user. Okay. So if I click on freeze over here, so what will happen now when this user wants to log in, he or she won't be able to log in into the system because we have temporarily freeze them to log in. Okay. And then we can make changes whatever we want on the record and everything. Now the same thing that you can do by deactivating the user. How you can deactivate a user? You will have to click on edit. This is an active button. You click over here. See, it says that when you deactivate, it will remove them from all the groups and everything. Okay. You click on OK, and if you click on save. So now we have done the same thing. We have deactivated the user. Okay. So now what is the difference between freezing a user and deactivating the user? Both are doing the same thing, right? They are not allowing us to let the user log in into the system and to do the work. So basically, whenever you deactivate the user, right, it will free up your licenses over here. Okay. When I say licenses, I already show you in the company information, there are certain licenses that are provided, right? So every user that is being created is counted against this. For example, we have chosen Salesforce platform, right? So this Salesforce platform license was consumed for this user. Now, when we have deactivated that, that means this license has now been freed. And now we can create any other user with that particular license. Okay. To check what are the license available, I'll again show you over here. Go to your company information, and over here you see that, see the Salesforce licenses, two licenses, both are being used. Okay, the Senetic licenses, both are being used. If you see, we created one with Salesforce platform. There are 3 active licenses, and you can see that it's been freed now. If I again active this at that user, it will come as 1. I'll show you as well so that you have a better understanding of these things. What was the username? If I click on all users, it will show me deactivated users as well. Okay, and this is our user. I'll click over here. I'll make them active again. Keep an eye on Salesforce platform. That is the user license that we are using right now. Okay, and let's go to the company information. And over here, you'll see this one use license, right? Previously, it was 0, just the seconds I showed you, right? So that's how when you deactivate, you would be able to free up this license. When you only freeze the user, the license does not get freed. Okay, this is a very common question asked in interviews. Why you are not able to delete a user? If not delete, why you deactivate it and why you freeze it? Okay. Okay. So this is what we have discussed on the users part. Okay. I'll go with the next thing and let's see what was the topic I have. Okay. So now I wanted to discuss something on getting into the org and the security of the Salesforce system. Okay. So assume another situation where there is a very big house. Okay. Assume that this particular big house is your Salesforce org. Okay. Now, if anyone wants to get into that house, what would be the first thing that they would require to get into that particular house? That means the keys to the gate, right? If they do not have the keys to the gate, they cannot get into the home until unless they wanted to do a robbery. That's a different thing. But yeah, if you wanted to get into legally, right, how will you do it? You would be having the keys and you would be using those keys to enter into the Salesforce org. Okay. So whenever you create a user and then they go to, you put your username and password and everything, right? And once you click on that login button, so you get into this org, right? So the first step is getting into this org. You usually see when I do myself as a logout and then I log in again, where I have a username and a password, right? And I click on the system, I'm able to log in into the system. But now, let's say, what would be the first step to let the user not into the system is the keys to the home, and in this case, we have two things. So, what are those two things? Those two things are called as uh, I'll show you the IP ranges, trusted IP ranges, okay, and some password policies as well. So, what are the trusted IP ranges and what does they do? We'll discuss on the same. But before that, I'll show you the trusted IP ranges that would come up in your profiles. But before that, we have the password, right? So let's go into the password policies. So for your users, right, what you can do is you can set up these password policies. Basically, you can set up in how many days it will get expired. If you wanted to remember the previous passwords of the customer of your users so that they do not use it, then you have to give this option, right? I want I want the system to remember the three passwords of the user so that they do not enter it again. Okay. Then what would be the length? Cannot contain any password. Then they can only make 10 invalid attempts. After that, their user would be logged. Okay. And what is the locking period for that? It is set it for 15 minutes. Okay. And then there's one setting known as obscure secret answer for password reset. So basically, what this option does is when you do a password reset, you have a security question, right? So whenever you give that secret answer to that security question, it it would be always covered. It won't be open and visible. So that if someone is doing some screen mirroring or trying to track your screen, they won't be able to capture that secret answer as well. Okay. And then this option, if you enable it, it says that it require a minimum 1 day to have a password, right? Let's say you just reset the password today at 7 p.m. Now you cannot reset the password for the next 24 hours. You'll have to stay with the same password. Okay. If you click on this, they won't be able to do so. Okay. And then you can put some message and help links into the assistance. Let's say if someone is trying to log in, then you can put up the message that you are not logging from the trusted system or something like this, and you can give them a help link as well. Okay. So that's how you can contain the password policies on the org-wide level. Whenever we say org-wide level, it is like for all the users into the system. Okay. Now you have a requirement where you wanted this on the profile level. Okay. So if I click on profile, You see there are a lot of profiles over there. Let's go to the system admin profile, and in the find settings, if you search for password policies, right, it is coming up. It will take some time. So you see uh, there are certain settings that are coming up. So now if you wanted to configure the password policies especially for specific profiles, you can do it by going into their profiles. Okay, so this is how we can configure the passwords for our users. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss few other things. Okay, now I was talking about the IP ranges, right? So click on network access in the quick find, and over here you'll find an option called as trusted IP ranges. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, that means the person is logging from a trusted network. Okay, and this has been recognized by your company, and they do not have to do any activation, any authentication or anything, and they can further log in into the system. So you just have to click on new, and then you'll have to give the IP address from where it gets started to till where it you want to end. Let's say you're working in a system where you're working in Pakistan and your IP started from, let's say, 48.43.163.71, and you are working in a small area, let's say the area of Karachi itself, where we have specific IP addresses, right? Then you can put the start and end IP addresses that you can get from your IT team where you work upon, and then you can just click on save. So any person who is logging within that IP ranges would be able to successfully log in into the system without any authentication. Okay, so that's why they are called as trusted IP ranges. So this is also set up on the org-wide level where you're setting it for the entire system. Now, same thing if you have it on a profile level for every different profile, what you can do is you can click on profile. Again, you can go to any specific profile. Over here, the option comes up with the IP ranges, I guess. Let it open, I'll show you. IP ranges, yeah, login IP ranges. So if you click on that settings, over here you'll see the profile login IP ranges. Click on add IP ranges. Over here you can add an end address and you can give a description. So the Salesforce admin can only log in with these things, and if they are not logging from these IP addresses, then Salesforce won't allow them to get into the system. So this is your first level of security, first level of getting into the apartment. These are your keys basically to the apartment. Okay. Nice. So what we'll do is we'll again quickly discuss a few things in company information for you. We are seeing this option of deactivate org. So this is done basically when you are done with your all the things and testing. So if I told you right in the org edition, this is a developer edition. So what does a basically a developer edition do? This is a free edition where you can do your point proof of concepts, POCs. You can create new things and you can test it around. So that's why you are seeing this option of deactivate org over here. But once you go into the org which are of higher edition, let's say you get into enterprise performance or unlimited edition, where you won't be seeing this feature of directly deactivate org. Okay, because that is not controlled solely by the admin. There are other admins as well within the same org, and there are a lot of stakeholders involved. So that's why this option is not given to them, because these developer orgs are mostly personal, but then the orgs which you will work on within the company are not your personal orgs. You are an admin, and there are maybe more than 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh users into the system, right? So you directly do not get this option of deactivating the orgs. Okay. Also, The instance that we've already talked about, this is your org ID that comes handy at places. Then I told you about the user licenses. Okay, so what are these user licenses? Basically, based on these user licenses, they are your key of getting into the system, right? So if you see, I have created one user with Salesforce platform user, and we have utilize this the username of Salesforce platform user. The admin that I've created, right, the system admin profile, that has been given the Salesforce user license, which is one of the most powerful licenses that is being given by into the Salesforce, and that's how it will define that what users are capable of doing things into the Salesforce. There's a very beautiful detailed article on Trailhead as well. I'll share you the link after the class, so you can go ahead and read about the user licenses. Then, if you see permission set licenses, what are they are for? What are these used for? So any user can have only one profile and one user license. Okay. If I go back and I'll show you the users, you will let's go to any user again. I'll open my user as of now for an admin. So over you see that I have given only one profile. I have not specified any role as of now, but we'll do so further and I'll let you know what is the significance of having the role. Okay. And only one user licenses. But on your top, you will see one option known as permission set assignments. Okay. And then the other thing is permission set license assignments. Okay. So what are these for? So these are basically there are certain features that you can use. To use those features, right, you will have some licenses, and those licenses come from this specific uh, these licenses come from this specific permission setting licenses. I'll show you over here. If you see these, I have 31 permission assignments over here. So this says engagement basic. So this is used if we want to use the sales engagement features in our Salesforce. Okay, that is just a feature in Salesforce. But in order to use that, you have this feature license assignment to your particular user. Okay. Also, if I wanted to use, let's say, analytics is a different product of Salesforce. But if in order to use that, I should have this permission set license assignment added to me. Okay, if you see over here, it is already active. Total licenses is one, but no one has been using it. Okay, so we can assign it to anyone. So there are certain, you can see that in order to use Service Cloud, we'll have to have the service user. If you have any knowledge about Salesforce product, there's one product called a CPQ. So in order to have work on the features of CPQ, we'll have to have this feature license, CPQ license. Okay. So these are the different licenses over there, which you can assign to your user, and then they can leverage and get benefit out of that. Okay. Okay. We've covered. Yeah. Also, there are a lot of Salesforce editions. Okay. So first of all, I already told you when you go to your company information, you will find the information about your edition, right? Apart from that, whenever a new company gets into and they wanted to have get into Salesforce and everything, Salesforce provide them a 30 days trial edition where they can try the features and then they can think of getting onboarded to the Salesforce. Later on, when they feel like, okay, now the Salesforce is the right solution for them to go further, they purchase different plans, different editions, and there are different pricing to it. If you search on, say, Google, that what are the different Salesforce editions and their pricing, you will get to know that, okay, these are the different editions and these are the different pricing. So this is being determined by your finance team, your accounts team, and the admin itself, how many users and licenses they would require, and what are the features that they would require to work upon. Okay. Okay, let's go to auditing methods. So this is one of the important methods in Salesforce when we say auditing. Auditing is basically is a very generic term used in finance and management as well, where you keep track of the records and then you can go back and see who made what kind of changes and everything. Okay, so let's talk about this. We have talk upon this. We have talk upon trusted IP ranges, system admin. Yeah. So we would be talking about how you can do the audit in your Salesforce org. So when I say how you can do the audit as if you are the system admin of the org, right? And you have you are the one who would be taking care of all those 500, 10,000 users into the org. Okay. As if now we have very less users, but let's say you have 10,000 users and you have to manage such a large community of users. Then there might be a lot of instances where some users might try to look from a suspicious place, or maybe from they have logged in to a device which has not been authorized by your team, or there could be some changes that are made to the record which is not appreciated. I am the system admin. I created one particular account, and I wanted that to be in that way where I have given the annual revenue for that account as 10 lakhs. But then someone from the team go and gets changed. At the day of presentation, I could see that the value has been changed to 6,000. Then how would I know that who's that person who made those changes? Okay. So to do that, there are a lot of ways which comes into the form of auditing. So first way is you can go into the search box, and when you click on login history, here you can see that up to 20,000 records for the 6 months for all the person who has logged in. So if you see over here, I logged in. This is my username. This is my login time. This is the source IP where I have logged in. My location is being tracked, and I've logged in as application. Like I've directly logged into the portal, right? And this is a browser I'm using, and then what is the platform on it. I'm using a Mac over there. So it tells, and what is the login URL which I've used. Okay. Also, if I just scroll down, I wanted to show you over here as well. When I didn't remember my URL, I directly click on login.salesforce.com and then I logged in. So this has been tracked over here. Okay. But the way I've tried to log in into the system, it's been tracked. So as of now, I have not I have not logged in with any other users. But in our case, let's say if there are 5, 10 users, you would see all the login history of those users over there, how they have logged in. Okay. So this way you can understand and you can see that if let's say a record has been changed today at 7:15 p.m., then you can check the login history of that user as well if they have already logged into the system and if their name is coming up instead of last modified. Okay. Now let's go to what we'll do is uh, I'll discuss another auditing method that is called as setup audit trail. So if you go into the quick find and you'll search for audit trail, you'll click on it. Okay. So over here you will see that at what time which user has created what action. Okay. So as if now, if you could remember, I froze this user, test user, then I unfroze that, I deactivated that, and I again activated that. Okay. So these are all being tracked over here. Then also, if you could see, is this particular user that was our test user, right? So you can this can see this entry, right? I have logged in as test user TS. This was the username, and what it shows logged in using the login access for this user, and this was the username who did that. So in the previous sessions, when we have changed the record pages, page layouts, and everything, right? Everything has been tracked over here. I have logged in with user and everything. So you from here you can also track that if someone has made any changes, it would come up over in your audit trail. Okay. Now we have discussed two ways of auditing. First, seeing the login history, and then the view setup audit trail. Okay. Next thing would be if I go to accounts and I'll click on this account this as we have been working upon. If I click on additional fields, if you see there are the fields which are like automatically comes up, created by, last modified by, right? So it already tell that okay, this particular account and this particular record over here is being created by Umar, okay, on this date, and then this has been last modified by Umar itself at 518. Let's say right now in India it is 717. I will change a value over here, maybe number of locations to maybe as no. I'm and I'm clicking on save. You see automatically this field last modified by tracked my record, and it says that last modified at 718. So these fields are called as record modified fields or record modifier fields, which will track the basically whenever you have created it, whenever you have modified it, and all those things. Okay. Now you'll say that okay, now we can understand that okay, this record Burlington Textile Corp of America last modified by Umar, that I understood. But what did he modify? You do not know that I have changed the upscale opportunity from maybe to no, right? In order to track that, what you will have to do is you'll have to go to your account, your object manager, okay. This is called fields and relationships over here. And you have to click on set field tracking. We have already discussed on the field dependencies. Okay, click on set field tracking. Sorry, set history tracking. So what it will do is this will allow to select the fields you want to track. Okay, so whenever there has been changes to the field, it gets tracked over here. Okay, and it would only get tracked whenever you enabled it. For an example, if I make changes before enabling this, it was already enabled in my org. But let's say if it is not enabled in your org and you made some changes, it won't get tracked. After you enable this account history first over here, and then you choose whatever fields I wanted to track up. Okay. If you can see that I've selected the fields over here. I wanted to see if someone changes account name, the revenue, the type, okay, and all those things. So let's say I have chosen that the type field, I've already clicked on it, and I'll click on save over here. So now what it will do is the field that I've already selected, or you can change as per your requirement, whenever the type field on the account is being changed, it will let me know who changed it and what are the values. So let's say, let's go to the type field. So this type field, right? If I change it to customer direct to others and click on save, it gets saved over here. And if you go to the related tab where we have a related list called as account history, if you click on view all, so it says that at 7:20 p.m., this field type has been changed from this value to this value. This is a original value. This is a new value. And who changed it? Umar changed it. Okay. If any other user has access to it and has made the changes, that you can see, and then you can let them know, okay, you cannot tell a lie. We could have seen from the account history that your user has made the changes to this field. Okay, so that's how you can track by seeing that at what time it got changed, and by enabling the account set history tracking, And this can be done on the eligible objects where you can find the option of set history tracking, right? It's not just limited to only accounts. You can do it for any other object, let's say for opportunities, right? So click on opportunity and you will be going to this and you find this option of tracking, right? So that's how you will track the changes that has been made into the system. Okay. Okay, so we'll discuss two more things quickly and then we would take some questions if any, and then we'll have a quick 5 minute break for the Maghrib and then we can come back. Uh, what I wanted to tell you is, da, 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 yeah. So now, since we have configured and we have started learning how we can slowly do a lot of things being an admin into the system, there's one concept called as business hours. So if you click business hours, that is a part of your company setting itself. Click on business hours. Okay. So by default, this is being given, but I wanted to create my own business hours. Let's say there's a company that works in UAE. So mostly they have a holiday on Friday. Okay. So they do not work on Fridays. And why would I require this? Okay. So basically, this is mostly used in the service cloud, and there's a concept called as a support team, which will work on the cases and itself. So let's say there's a lot of in India. There's a food delivery app called as Zomato. Okay, so when you order something from Zomato, it will take the order, and on the live feed you can see that where is your rider and the restaurant has confirmed the order and everything. Let's say if there are any delays in the order, right, then there's a chat team or there's a support team to whom you can talk to, and this is always the basis of any CRO system. Like, they do the marketing. After the marketing is done, you purchase their product, that is called the sales cloud or the sales team. And then once they purchase the product, after that you will have to assist them with the product query and product anything. So that's how you have a dedicated support team usually that support on the things. And then we'll have to configure like business hours. What are the business working hours of my company? Okay, so let's say I'll put this as UAE team, because or maybe UAE working hours, just for an instance. I'll click on active. Over here I have to choose a time zone. So UAE is Asia Dubai. It goes into dot, 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 dot. Plus, it is +4, +4. Gulf Standard Time, which is in say Dubai, Muscat, right? You can see over here. As of now, I choose Asian Dubai. Okay, I know UAE is different, but yeah. And then I can configure the time over here. We do not work 24 hours. On Sunday, we do not work. Okay, for my company, and then you can change that timing from here, hour and minutes. Okay, so you could put it as 9, and then you can put it as from when to when you would be working upon. Okay, based on that you can change it, and then you can just click on save. So those, and you can make this as default as well if you want that these are the working hours. So there are certain things called as escalation rules and everything. So to give you a gist out of it, when we configure the business hours, it tells that these are the hours on which the org and the users are active and they're supporting their users. Let's say when we have holidays, when we have any other things, right? Then we have some SLAs. If we are working with the companies, these are called as service level agreements. So then there should be no escalation at the time when the business is not working. So let's say if a user log in at 12 a.m. in the night and your business hours does not support that, he cannot escalate that for you. Okay. That's how it's the business use case of it, and that's how you configure the business hours over here. Okay, I'm not saving it up. Just giving you an inference that send you an article as well. It is very easy to configure the business hours. Also, since we have configured the business hours, we have holidays based on that. So let's say Pakistan has their Independence Day on 14th of August, and we celebrate it on 15th of August, right? So on 14th of August, since it's a holiday for the org and everyone, and if you have users which are working outside of Pakistan, let's say they're working in UK, US, and everywhere, right? You can put this as Independence Day, and you can put the description, and you can give the date over here, August 14th. Okay, and you can click on save. Once you save it, you can add the business hours as well. So as if now we have the default one and we are putting the default one. If we have saved the previous one, it would have saved. So now holidays are the dates at which your business hours are suspended. Okay, and when you add these date and times with the business hours, it will also suspend any escalation rules that work with it. Okay, so that's how these holidays are configured so that there should be no escalations once these holidays and business are put in place. Okay, I'll quickly take questions for. If there are any questions, can you please type it? If not, we can have a break for maybe 6 7 minutes, and we can then. I'll have to pay Maghrib, and then we can come back. Are we good? Audit trail, how we set? Noori Jahan, you do not set audit trail. It's like it's a inbuilt functionality from Salesforce. Okay, and you do not set it up. You do not have to configure anything. Whatever you are doing, you would be able to see that into the system. Okay, whatever is coming up, whatever the changes, whatever the modifications, whatever the page layout changes you are doing, right? It would automatically get tracked. You won't set it up for any users. It is a system based thing. Okay. So right now it is 7:29 over here. Let's meet at maybe 7:36, 7 minutes from now. Good for the Maghrib prayer. We'll connect. Okay. Thank you. Can we get started if everyone has joined the meeting? Thank you. I'll start the meeting now. Okay, so we have discussed on some audit methods that are the field history tracking, how we can set up the audit trail, we check in how we can check the login history and the record modification fields. Okay, and also we talk about the first pillar, right, where how we can get into the Salesforce org. There's one thing that I missed telling you, and that was on the roll up summary fields. So let me just tell you that as well. Sorry. Okay, so let's go to the subject. Sorry, let's go to the subject here, account. And now there's a concept called as roll up summary fields. So this roll up summary field is created on the master object, okay, that would wrap up, count, sum, any values from the related child record. I repeat, what is the concept of roll up summaries? Roll up summary field is calculated, is created on the parent master object, which can roll up any values from the related object. For an example, here in this case, we have a count that is a master object, and whenever we click on related, that means these objects are related to account. And then if you see over here, we have opportunities. Okay, account can have multiple opportunities, 1 to m relationships. Over here, if you see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities are as related to this particular account. Now, on the opportunities, when we created, there's certain amount that opportunity. What is the revenue of that opportunity or something like this? So if you see, there are 5 different opportunities already tagged to this account, and they have value as 4,000, 8,000, 99, 5,000, and 2,35,000. Now, if I wanted to know what is the total amount of these opportunities on the account object, see, the field is on opportunity and opportunity is on the related list. But now I wanted to see the details of this particular field on the main object, that is the account object. How I can do it? I have to go to the parent object where I wanted to see the related data. I click on account, fields and relationships. Okay, over here, I've already created it, so I'll show you. I created this field called as sum of top. This is something, I'll click on it. I'll show you how I created so that you will have some understanding. I'll have to click on new. From new, I'll have to choose the roll up summary. So it says that it's a read only field that displays the sum, minimum or the maximum value of any field which is in a related list or the record count of the in the related list. Okay, so I'll click on next. Let's label it as sum of related opportunities. Okay, and if you click on this, it would be getting added to the reports that we'll discuss later. What are the reports in Salesforce? Now it says that which object you wanted to summarize. Okay, I wanted to the summary and opportunities. Then it says which field do you want to aggregate. So I wanted to have a sum and sum of all the values of the related opportunity into the amount field. Okay, there are certain other fields as well where they calculate the probability, quantity, and all those things. I'm interested in getting the amount. You can also check for the minimum. You can also check for the maximum out of all the records. Okay, as if now I wanted to do the sum of all those things, or and then it says that do you want all the records to get into this calculation? That means if we click on this, then all the 5 records that I've showed you over here, all the related records, right? These all 5 records, their values will be taken into consideration. But if I click on only some records, then I'll have to give the field and then some criteria. And based on these criteria, whatever the records, these records would be like getting these values, right? Like let's say if I give if value is greater than 8,000, then only this GD2 and Burlington Textile weaving plant generator, only these two would get summed up. If I give less than 100, then only this would be calculated, right? So based on that, you can specify the conditions over here. As of now, I do not want to specify any condition. I want every records to be added up. I'll click on next. Also to let you know that sometimes roll-up summary takes some time to calculate the values, and there are a lot of consideration to it. I would be sharing an article for the same as well, for which fields and what are the available options that you can create a roll-up summary and what consideration you need to follow. Okay. This is basically uh, for the profiles, which profile you wanted this field to be coming up. So you can choose all the profiles, and if you do not want to choose all the profiles, you have to simply deselect or select them. Since we are only using the system admin thing, ideally I always make visible for all the profiles. But just to give you a slight different taste of it, I'm not choosing everything, and I'm deselecting that these profiles should not see it. Okay, and then for rest it is okay. I'll click on next, and then it says should we add to all the record pages? Yes, please add it. And then it will ask which account layout you wanted to add. If you have a different layout for a different business purposes, you can exclude that or you can include that as well. Based on that, if you click over here, it will deselect, and then you can select a specific page layouts. And if you want for everyone, every layout, it will come as over here, and click on save. So the name of the field was sum of related opportunities. Okay. Now, ideally, when I go, I should be able to see that, but most of it won't come up directly. We'll have to some do login off and on. It will also take some time. As of now, if I click over here, since records are very less, right? It has calculated. Just a second. Mhm. So that value is still getting calculated. How do we know that? If I click on this field that I've just created, right? There was a hourglass icon that was coming up. Not sure it has removed. So basically, when I clicked on that, right, you must have seen an icon that was coming up. That is known as a hourglass icon, and that is like it is still calculating the value. So you have to be patient enough once that icon is away from here. Okay, and then we'll go to this, and if I click on refresh, so it is not coming up as of now. Okay. Uh, the main reason that we are discussing upon is like it is like I'll have to log in on and off. So what I'll do is first I'll check in the edit page because we have made it to a dynamic form, right? So for that, I'm just checking my dynamic page where it's been getting placed there. So if you see, and if you remember with the last class, we have created this particular section, right? And that section is only available to code profiles. The field that we have created, right? This that has got into this particular section, and that is what is not available because we are not logged as a support profile. We have logged as a system admin, and that's why it is what we'll do is as if now we would remove it from here, and then we would remove it into the journal detail section over here. How to add that field? Click on the fields tab over here, and the name of the field was sum of related opportunity. I'll put this up, pull this over here. I'll click on save. Still saving the record. So okay, so let me just quickly refresh and go back to the record. Over here, do you see there's a sum of related opportunities, right? So it is coming up at 2,52,099 rupees. So this is the sum of all the value of amount on the opportunity field. Based on that, you can do the sum, you can do the minimum value out of it, you can do the maximum value out of it, you can do the average as well, count of the records based on this. Okay, so this is how the roll up summary field works, and it is quite important fields whenever you have a lot of products, you have a lot of orders, and then based on that you wanted to calculate the product and the prices and everything that you will learn later on. But yeah, that's how the concept of roll up summary works. Okay. Okay, then. So we have discussed a few user management things, what the user can do and everything. Now I wanted to start a very important topic. Okay. Just give me a minute. Let me add those. On which fields we can add summary, on which field like number and currency. Yeah, there's a dedicated article for roll up summary field, right? For which fields you can do it up. I'll be sharing you that as well. Just give me a minute. I've pasted in the help section and I'll send you across as well. So this article that you can refer to where you can see that on which fields you can create the roll up summary field. Okay, it has all details on this, and you can create on the number, currency, and the percentage field when you use the sum, and you can use for number, currency, percentage, date, and time when are you selecting for minimum or maximum as a role type. This is a reference to it. You can check it later on. Okay. Okay, now what we are going to discuss is one of the most important things in Salesforce. Okay, and what it is exactly, this is the data security setting. We have talked about the data layer in our first session. Not sure if anyone has remembered that data thing, but yeah, the main and the whole soul crux of using the Salesforce is how you can maintain the quality of the data. Also, how you can prevent the users from accessing the records which they shouldn't be accessing. Okay. Also, we could set up the users and what kind of profiles and the rules they should be given so that we can maintain a particular uh, flow of records which would be visible to the user and how it should be. Let me just take you to one of the articles, and what we do is we would theoretically discuss this through that article, and in the next session, what we'll do is I would create some user stories, some users already into the system, and we would then later talk upon these theoretical knowledge what we have gained. Also, to this is one of the sections where you get a hell lot of questions into the interview. They are even there are admins with 1 year of experience, 2 years of experience. Still, they are not clear how the records is being accessed into the Salesforce, how it's been shared, and why it is being shared. Okay, so I'll go to that. I've opened one article, and based on this article, I would be giving you a theoretical things. And this is basically from a Salesforce developer blog, where they have talked upon how the data security model works in Salesforce. Okay, if I just drop down, okay, there's an image that is a bit cropped up. So we'll go to the image that is being at the very bottom, and then we'll discuss things further on. So basically, uh, as for the Salesforce thing, right? We have you've heard things like profile roles and OWDs from me in the recent classes, right? But how they've come into existence, what is the motive out of it, and how the things are. Okay, so just look at this model over here and assume and then try to analyze it. So first of all, as you were talking about the home, right? You wanted to get into a home, so what you'll have to do is you'll have to have the keys. So the keys would be your trusted IP ranges and the login hours. Okay. Once you log in to the system, okay. Okay, I guess I missed one more thing. Just give me a quick minute. Okay, we'll take this one later. So yeah, going back to this, where we now got the access to the keys, we have where we get into the org, right? Now there are three types of security basically in Salesforce. One is on the object level, then on the uh, field level, and then on the record level. Okay, so these three type of security determines how a particular user can see any of the records into the Salesforce. Okay, so there are trail mix also related to it, and but let's go into the basics, right? If you see this image, what we're saying, right? We have different objects that we have, like accounts, opportunities, leads, and everything, right? Then on these objects, different fields, right? These fields are known as account name, billing, phone, and everything. And then these fields are storing some value. Those are our records. Okay, so this is how the analogy is. Your objects are similar to tables in the databases. And I already told you that from the backend, Salesforce uses Oracle database. Okay. Then your fields are similar to the columns of the table. So these are the columns that you see, right? These are your fields that what is the owner first name, account name, all these things. And whatever the value that is being held into these fields are known as records. Okay, so we have a record called as edge communication. So this is called record. So now we identified three things: the objects that is coming up over here, the fields, and then the values that are into these. These are our records. So now these three are the main places where we put the security in how the records has been visible and not visible. So now we are considering a scenario over here where, let's say, Maria, who has just position called ABC, okay, and she's from a marketing background and she is reporting to the CEO of the company, okay. So like she's not at the top of the role hierarchy. She is reporting to someone who is the CEO of the company, and she needs access to various objects and applications. So first of all, now the object level security. So when now we have given the access via the IP ranges and login access and everything, and they have logged in, right? Now they should have access to the particular object. So if they are able to access that particular object, then they could see the details as well. And how it is being controlled? So this is being controlled through profiles and permission sets. First, we deal with profiles. So we are talking about profiles a lot of time. So it is basically a way where how we can control users can see the Salesforce based on the object level and the field level. Okay. Uh, I will show you over here. If I go to the home, not here, I'll open any profile. Okay. Let's go to the profile. We have created last one profile as what was that profile? Yeah, this support profile that we have created, right, in the last class. So I'll open both of these to you. Click link. This is custom support profile, and this is a system admin profile. So this is the first place where the based on the profile that you give to the particular user, they would have access to those objects. So let's open first of all. This is the system admin profile, and over here I'm using an enhanced view. I'll tell you what that is just after when we finish this. So basically, when into the options come in this way, and if you use the non-enhanced view, they come up in a tabular format. The things are same, just that they are not segregated into different sections. Okay, that you can do it from the user management settings over here. Let me show you that as well. User management settings. If you click on user management settings, this is because I've enabled that, you are able to see in a very streamlined manner. But if let's say if I disable it, right, and I click on refresh, you will notice the changes. So if you are working on any of the org and where you see such kind of changes, just understand that they have enabled or not enabled this particular feature. So now you see that the entire UI has changed and it is coming in a very different way. So both UIs have their pros and cons. Based on that, we can use it. It is more straightforward, and all the things are coming up like what are the page layouts that are being assigned. Directly, you can see it from here. I personally like the enhanced version, but sometimes we'll have to come up to this version to see the changes. Okay, so I'll again toggle it off and I'll go back and refresh it. Okay, so now if I click on object settings, I'm remember that I have gone to a profile and now I'm clicking on object settings. So assuming now again, if I always take that example in your mind, assuming that you are entering a home. Now that home, let's say, has hundreds of rooms. Okay, consider those rooms as object. Okay, room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, consider those as accounts, opportunity leads, and everything. So now, based on the profile, you would have access to those particular objects. Okay, if you see over here, if because I am a system admin, right? I've logged in as system admin. If you see on accounts, What are the object permission do you see? Read, I can read any of the account data. I can create it, I can edit it, I can delete it, I can view all the accounts that are created into the Salesforce. I can modify them as well. Okay. So over here you can see certain permissions. Now just see the same for the custom profile that I've created that day. Let's see what are the accesses they have. It was also Salesforce profile. So you can see over here, they have only read, create, edit, and delete. They cannot view all the accounts that are created in Salesforce, and they cannot modify them. Okay. Also, if you see this particular object, let's go with some object which are, if you see cases objects, right? You have all these permissions, but for this profile, for cases, they have only these permissions. Okay. But for an example, this object, let's say AI Insight Reasons, if you see, for the system admin, they have all the accesses. But for this profile, they have no access. That means when we log in with this particular user, we won't be even able to see the this object as well. Okay. Again, I will give you an example. Let's say uh, I am from a hiring company, so I'm a hiring manager. I am the one who is taking your interview. Okay, and you are the one who are the candidate on the Salesforce platform. We both have access to this particular application tool, this that we have developed. So uh, your record, like your personal records and everything, that should be accessible to me because I am the interviewer, right? So I would be able to see your records when you got graduated and everything, right? And what you can see the job description, uh, what are the job timings and all the details on the job description and the job JD. But are you allowed to see an object called as salary at upfront? No, because that is being discussed and that is something inclusive for an interviewer, right? So that object won't be available to you. Even if you search as an object for salary, because we have been restricted, we have given no access to that particular object, you won't be able to see anything. And that is not relevant to you because whatever salary we will give you, you'll have to take it up based on the negotiations. But then, what is the salary structure? Whatever we have saved into the records, or all, or the salary records of other employees, that shouldn't be accessible to you. Okay. So, for an example, if this object I wanted to make this object accessible to this profile, I'll have to click on edit. The session would stretch for 10 to 15 minutes. I hope this is fine for you guys. So please stay in this session. Uh, over here, we have the option. Uh, Let me see. Break for namaz at 8. Please let me know if you can be into the session for the next 10-15 minutes. I do not want to break in the between. If you are available, we can continue this. You can put up into the chat, uh, or else we can drop it from here and then we can continue in the other session. Hira, Arbab, Aisha, anyone? Let me know. Rimsha, you there? I guess they are not able to hear my voice. Can you hear it?
I can hear you, Umar. I think we can wrap up this session and we can continue in the next one from here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for joining the session. We'll continue on this thing from the other session. Okay. Bye, folks.
Thank you, Umar, for the insightful session. Bye, everyone.